I gotta talk to you about something. And for once, I look presentable. Can we just take a minute? My hair's never curled, and so this is a moment. I've got my dog behind me too, so if you hear squeaking, he's doing his thing. I just hopped off a discovery call with someone, and this is one of my very favorite feelings. When we get off that call feeling like we totally just vibed out with one another, and it pretty much feels like it's set without being set yet. Now, it's really easy for, if you've had a moment like this before in your discovery / sales calls, you're vibing out, you instantly feel like your personalities mesh, expectations align, all that stuff. It's a really good feeling, but you can't get too excited about it because it's not on paper yet. I wanted to document this thing that I'm starting to feel, which is that business feels like it's gradually starting to become a little bit easier. A lot of things contribute to that, and I'm going to break down what I mean here in a second, but what immediately feels like contributes to that feeling is building a strong reputation where you stick to your guns, you set boundaries, you gradually increase the quality of your clientele, increasing your prices a little bit more, and being able to justify those price increases. Getting a little bit clearer on what works and what doesn't work in terms of marketing. I still operate pretty heavily off of referrals. I'm trying to work to diversify that a little bit more, but man, it's hard. But this feeling of business feeling like it's I'm going to push my microphone a little bit closer. Now, what I mean by business starting to feel easier is very, very similar to the way that a train takes an exponential amount of energy to get going, and then when it does, it just kind of runs on its own. Referrals are a really big part of that. That's why your network is so important. I need to get better at networking, but I just don't always like it. But having this feeling of the engine starting to carry itself, the train kind of starting to carry itself, it makes me feel like I get to relax a little bit more, that I don't have to maybe grind as hard. I'm not saying that I'm going to slack off or stop marketing, because the trick is when you start getting more of those clients, you can't stop the marketing either. It's like patting your head and rubbing your belly. Because you have the clients doesn't mean that you should quit marketing. Don't quit marketing because you don't have clients. You know what I mean? And I can feel good about the work that I'm doing and the progress that I'm making as a business owner, as a salesperson, because us entrepreneurs wear multiple hats. I can feel good about that because after running the numbers, I discovered that an average client that I work with for done-for-you marketing services stays with me for an average of 13 months or more. That is some phenomenal job security. Now, bear in mind, I've only been doing this for maybe a year and a half or so. It really hasn't been that long. But there's been a lot of very fast progress. By the end of my first year, I was mid-5 figures. I'm not a 6-figure business yet. So every time I secure a client, as my reputation starts to build, as I'm increasing the quality of my network, as I'm continuing to deliver on the things that I promise people, it's really easy for things to feel like they're gradually starting to carry itself, because you're building that trust, because you're building that rapport, because it's easier for people to trust you because they've seen other people get the results that they want. This feels very, very similar. Barry, his face is in the trash can. I don't know why he does this. It feels very similar to the way that a book series sells itself. Or if you're a book reader, if you've written a book before or anything like that, you may or may not know that when you write book number 1, that book number 1 sells book number 2. Book number 2 sells book number 3. If you have vignette series over here, series over there, kind of like a Sarah J. Maas or something, it's easy for each of those series and each of those books to sell one another. You see what I'm saying? So as the quality of your network increases, and therefore the quality of your clientele increases, it's easy for people to be like, oh, who's that person? Do you know that person? What do they do? Are they good at what they do? How much does she cost? All that stuff. These are all the things that people are saying about you when you're not in the room asking other people about you. It's like dating, but with money involved in business. So because it's starting to feel easier doesn't mean that I necessarily need to let up. It just means I have a clear idea now of what's working, which is really, really, really freaking hard to figure out in the beginning. What works? I don't know. I'm just trying to get my first client. I'm just trying to get my first 1,000, my first 10,000, whatever. I still have yet to consistently have 5-figure months, but I feel like I say this every time in every one of these videos that I make. I'm closer now than I was a year ago. I've made more progress now than I have 6 months ago. But it really is so weird being in business with yourself, dude. It's just weird. There's all these things that you have to, you don't know about them until you're working your way through them, until you're learning them on the job. It's just a lot of trial and error. It's just what works, what doesn't work. You know the scientific method? Make your hypothesis, test it out. Was it right or wrong? If it's wrong, you go back, generate a new hypothesis, test it again. It's like that whole thing over and over and over again. And as far as like the quality of your services, of your clientele, of your network, like all that stuff that I just talked about, in terms of all of that, it feels very, very similar to finding a paperclip on the sidewalk, trading that for a pin, trading that pin for a pencil for a pen for a stapler, you know what I'm saying? Until eventually, I don't know, maybe one day you own the thing that you want. You own that fancy car. You own that fancy office building. I don't know. But this, I feel like a lot of these videos lately have been more of like video diaries, but these are the things that people don't always know about if they're not in it. And if they've already become successful, they might have forgotten about these moments. So I figure, I don't know, might as well take 10 minutes out of my day to talk about these things that I'm experiencing on the off chance that you or someone you know might be experiencing them yourself, or you're considering going into business with yourself and you want to know what to be mindful of, in which case you're being very responsible and I applaud you. I don't know if you've ever seen Barry. Barry is a Cocker Spaniel who we think might have a little Springer Spaniel in him. You want to say anything? Yeah, okay, see, that's good. Anyway, I have to go take him out to go to the bathroom, but I don't know what this was worth. I hope it was worth something. If you find this useful, subscribe. If you haven't already, check out my stuff in the description. I gotta go take out my dog. Good luck to you. Seriously. Just leave your thoughts, leave your comments below if you're experiencing something similar.